Now let's talk about screens. Screens are ever present in our lives, and for some of us, we have become habituated and even addicted to screens because they are hyper stimulating of different chemicals in the brain, especially dopamine. And dopamine is that reward chemical that makes you want more and more and more. And this is what leads to addiction. You know, those people that just sit there and scroll and scroll and scroll, or have the phone in their face or the computer all day long and they never look up, this is going to impact your ability to get an erection. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Be careful with how much screen time you have every day, and especially be careful with how late in the day you have it, because that's going to impact your sleep. Now, when we look at screen time, let's understand that too much of it leads to sleep problems, chronic neck and back problems, depression, anxiety, physical strain on your eyes and your entire body, as well as sleep deprivation, increased risk of obesity, getting fatter and fatter, susceptibility to chronic health conditions. These are all part of having too much screen time in your life. And if you're one of those people, you need to start really finding ways to separate yourself from that screen, or you'll never get a hard erection. It's just the way it is. So if this is your priority, start going outside more, getting more exercise, interacting with other people, read a book, do things that bring health rather than bring you down. Now, screens are good, they're wonderful. It's an amazing technology that gives us so much. I'm not saying that screens are bad. I'm saying that we have to manage the amount of time that we spend in front of these devices. Otherwise, they are poisoning us. You can lose cognitive function. You get impaired socializing skills. And all of this is proved by science. You get weakened emotional judgment. You get less curious about life outside of the screen. You even lower your self-control, and you get more distractible. You have more difficulty making friends, less emotional stability, and even the inability to finish tasks. If you can relate to any of these symptoms of overuse of screen, then it's time to really look deep inside yourself and find a way to start managing this aspect of your life. And this will lead to the ability to have that healthy system that gives you that strong erection. Screen use releases dopamine in the brain, and that negatively impacts our impulse control. When we do this, it's like the same effect, or similar, I should say, to that of cocaine in the brain. It arouses the frontal cortex of the brain, and it creates a greater risk in the cortisol awakening process. Remember cortisol, we keep coming back to this. It's a necessary hormone, but too much of it constricts the blood vessels and stops you from getting an erection. So stop watching too much of your screen, and this will release you from that overstimulation of dopamine and cortisol that's preventing the erection. When you're watching TV, your brain goes into overdrive, literally. It's pumping out serotonin like crazy, and then you just want to chill and be a couch potato. And you'll never be productive if you're sitting on the couch watching TV. You'll never be able to manifest the life of your dreams or have the sex that you so badly want to have. If you're thinking about ED, it's because you want to have sex. And in order to have great sex, requires you to step away from the screen and create a life outside of that screen. The problem is too much of this artificial serotonin production makes the serotonin receptors less sensitive, and it gets harder and harder to be entertained by the world outside of us. Now, I'm being a bit extreme here, and I'm trying to coach you into understanding that this isn't a joke. You know, we love to watch TV, play games, scroll through whatever social media that's lighting up our lives, but this is an epidemic of overuse in our world, and it's socially acceptable. So you might think it's no big deal. But when you understand the mechanisms of the brain and the body from watching too much screen time, I hope you get the point and realize it's time to reevaluate your relationship with your screens. So simply put, screen time impairs brain function. If you want to be a productive man, whatever it is, school, family, job, hobby, you need to manage this part of your life.